Hello, my name is Mike Liu,
I'm Chu.
I'm Hao.
I'm Yanqingma.
and our project is Illinoogle.
So we wanted to create a website called Illinoogle that improves interactive search on professors in UI/UC computer science department. For one, the search button on the current UI/UC CS department website is too small in the corner, and we want to provide a more simplified interface for entering a basic search query. We also want ready-made ranking information to students who would like to know the top descriptors. Moreover, from what we have seen, students may rank professors, and this rank would be averaged on a website called ratemyprofessor.com. However, we would like to know if the actual words used in the comments reflect such ranking relative to other professors. Also, we would like to separate out the sentiment students feel for different courses taught by the professors. Thus, this would be our pilot website to test out this particular functionality by scoring the sentiment of comments, normalizing and score, and presenting a accumulated total
For each course.
What we use the Django framework to set up the backend and MySQL in the panel to store the appropriate quality data. The basic demographic information was obtained from the U of ICS department website's faculty pages. The comments regarding this professor was obtained from a site called ratemyprofessors.com that allows students to review their instructors in universities across the US. The framework is hosted on a website called pythonanywhere.com. Part of the challenge was creating data field to communicate with our server. Since we have two tables in our database and we need to create a link to our model.py file, we have some problem in modeling their table relationships like primary keys in model.py. Because we have two tables, professor and review, we could overcome it finally by the hint in the stackoverflow.com. So just a show of the basic functionality from the front end, we could enter professor's information. For example, let's say we want to look up Professor Lawrence Angrave. As a result, we will have show some basic contact information like phone number, email, and the table about. The second table below including the highest ranked sentiment words from the reviews of ratemyprofessor.com. We pick up top 5 negative and positive words as what we show on our website. And what brandly new is that we have a Illinoogle score. It is a ratio basically based on the positive sentiments to the overall sentiments of the professors, and it shows the overall proportion of the positive sentiment towards the professor. However, the formula for calculating it is a little bit complicated than the direct word count. And now we will take you behind the scene that we show to how to gather and process the information displayed on our front end.
Collecting data was one of the initial challenges of the website. We organized the professor's database based on the information crawled from both sites, with attribute fields for their contact information and reviews. Many tutorials we found on sites such as YouTube assume that the crawling was done directly on the HTML text elements. In fact, there are key Python libraries such as Beautiful Soup that support this. However, if you inspect the source code for both the faculty pages in the UI/UC website and the ratemyprofessor.com, you realize this is not the case. Instead, both websites store the demographic information in a JavaScript file and dynamically loaded whenever the base HTML template is served. However, we were able to use the Google Chrome extension scraper to manually obtain comment information. We were able to organize the comments into an Excel file for the first stage of our processing.
And as you can see, this is actually an example of us using Scraper on Professor Craig Zillis.
This is how we organize the data in an Excel file. Because the data set is small, and the data we crawled is in CSV file. We had the convenience of using Excel macros to construct each comment and the corresponding professor in a tuple with two attributes, professor and a comment. Then we converted the Excel file into a line corpus and metadata. The next step is to find out the words that represent people's opinions. In our model, we tried to create a database of positive and negative adjectives. After the data is organized into a single DAT file, we used the meta to perform a post-tagging for all the words. After this, we could collect all the adjectives and put them into separate document. We then run meta again to remove all the stop words. For the words that are left, we manually determine the opinion of the word. For example, good will be considered as a positive word, and tedious will be considered as a negative word. Finally, we reformatted the word database and made it ready to use for later analysis.
So in terms of the algorithm to creating the rankings and the sentiments, we create a positive and a negative dictionary based around the list that we gathered from the parsing that was done by Meta. And of course, logically, we just stream it in one word at a time and add it to the dictionary. And this will just be our if the word exists. In order to obtain the document length normalization, we look through the line by line, and we use the line.split function to split the line into a list of words. And then we get the length of the list, which is the number of words in the line, so that's the document length. And then we average all the document lengths together to get the average document length for our calculations. And so basically what we do after that is that we go through the line corpus, each line again, and look through each of the words and see, okay, does this word match the positive or negative words in the dictionary? And of course we do one run through for the positive words, and we do one run through for the negative words. And we normalize the line corpus by eliminating punctuation marks. And we also use all lowercase so that the words match up with the words that we find in our dictionary. And here's the tricky part, is that we want to maintain a separate scoring dictionary from the absolute local frequency dictionary for each line corpus, because we want to counteract the effect of word spam. In fact, like for example, if someone said the line, Professor Ongrave is the best professor of all time. And so we don't necessarily want someone to try to game our system. So we use a modified BM25 to discount the word count in order to avoid spamming. And for example, we use word normal frequencies equal to 2 plus 1 times word frequency divided by the denominator, which is 2 times word frequency, to get a maximum asymptotic scoring count of 3, although the actual frequency count might be higher. And we end up adding the values of the scoring dictionary for each word to get the overall positive or negative sentiment. And of course, for the score overall, we take the normalized total frequency of all the words, and we divided it by the denominator as shown here, which is 1 minus b plus b, which is the parameter we use, times d, which is the document length divided by average document length. And this is all just listed in, listed as one equation here. And of course, we get the Illinoogle score overall by adding up the sentiments that are positive or negative over all the comments, and then multiplying that by 100, which is the positive, divided by total positive over total negative. And so you can see here, this is some sampling of what our code does in order to create the dictionaries and assess the word sentiment. And this is some preliminary results describing one of our instructors, Professor William Chapman. So basically, on a preliminary assessment, we were able to get the same results as we are able to do so with the formulas we've shown in Excel. This works because of natural speech patterns and reviews. There weren't too many attempts at word spam, but we had a formula for BM25 to normalize for that. And while Meta removes stop words such as not, people tend to write naturally in the most straightforward manner and may not try to go in a roundabout way. And also some instructors may have too few comments that might meaningfully sentiment across different reviews. but our preliminary results show that it might give us a very good different way to quantify rankings for positive sentiment towards instructors. At this point, our website only examines full name for the search result, and we only have a few instructors populated, but we expect to have more populated as we go along. Thank you very much for paying attention to our presentation.